Not having a great deal of time today, I'm going to restrict my opening remarks on behalf of the Government to what I think are the key issues in hand here. Firstly, that it's an unavoidable truth that we are in the midst of a climate and nature emergency. This Parliament recognised that when every party proceeded to pass some of the world's most ambitious climate targets into law. Now, our oceans are a vital part of the emergency response that are needed. Scotland's marine environment stores at least 5.6 billion tonnes of CO2. But recent research is showing that the oceans are reaching their capacity to help us. That's because of a number of issues, including human impacts upon them. If we don't protect our seas, they will not be able to protect us for much longer. And despite the considerable progress that has been made to improve the state of our oceans, the Scottish Marine Assessment of 2020 shows that a number of species are in decline. The most recent assessment under the most recent assessment under the UK Marine Strategy showed that across the UK, 11 out of 15 indicators of good environmental status are being missed. And I'll take an intervention from Finlay Carson.
I appreciate the Cabinet Secretary taking the intervention. Could you set out exactly how banning fishing will reduce greenhouse gases?
Cabinet Secretary.
Finlay Carson may wish to use language such as banning fishing. The point is that we are in a consultation. We're in the midst of a consultation which asks exactly about the principles of HPMAs, including how they are constituted and what features we may wish to protect, including blue carbon, which would directly respond to your point. But it's not just about carbon, it's about ecosystems, it's about species abundance, all of which are absolutely critical to equilibrium in our natural world, all of which is connected to the climate emergency. So I would expect Finlay Carson to understand that. And that matters to me, Presiding Officer, and that matters most of all to the people who are economically, socially and culturally connected with our seas. And of course that brings me to my second point, that it's an unavoidable truth that as we take the action that we have to take to respond to the climate emergency, we have to do it in a way that's fair, that's just, that leaves no one and no community behind. And that's a task that I'm committed to. It's a task that this Government is committed to, and it's one that we take very seriously indeed. And that is why we have approached this really complex and emotive topic with as much democracy as we possibly can. It's why, being so early in the process, the Scottish Government has held no less than 40 stakeholder meetings, both in the development of the consultation and since then to assist stakeholders in completing the same. I'm sorry, I don't have any more time to take interventions from the Conservatives. The meetings that we held included regional inshore fisheries groups, the Scottish Fishermen's Federation, the Communities Inshore Fisheries Alliance, the Scottish Creole Fishermen's Federation. It's why we met yesterday with MSPs, it's why I've committed to meet with communities across the summer, and it's why I reiterate my commitment to look very closely at the thousands of consultation responses that we have received. And I commit myself to that without politicking, without positioning, which, with regret, I'm afraid some are very much engaging with. Let's be clear, every party in this Parliament was elected on a manifesto commitment to marine protection. The Conservatives stood on a manifesto. No, I don't have time, I'm afraid. The Conservatives stood on a manifesto commitment to HPMA pilots. The Labour Party stood on a manifesto to include 20% of Scotland's waters in highly protected marine areas, double what this Scottish Government consultation proposed. So I assume, Presiding Officer, that we can agree that action is needed. But I want to address, in the time I have left, I realise I'm very short of time.
I'm afraid, Cabinet Secretary, that you are over time, and I will have to ask you to conclude at this point.
Let me just...
I cannot, regrettably, as we are very tight for time this afternoon.